It's Hearts Standard, it's Craig Cairns, it's Joel Sked, it's another derby defeat. I don't really know where to start with that. Joel, it was...
Well, I can start with our new sponsor. We may as well start with
Best
that.
way to start. So we can delay talking about this game for a little bit.
Yeah, a quick word from our sponsor. Heart Standard is brought to you by S1 Jobs. It's time to hand in your transfer request, then head over to s1jobs.com and upload your CV today, something I'll be doing later on. With thousands of jobs across Edinburgh and the surrounding area, you'll find the one at S1 Jobs. Start your search today. End podcast.
Yes, so now we will, with that message over, we will dissect the game. It was, in a sense, a game of two halves. I don't think Hearts were far and away the better team in the first half. We can maybe make an argument they just edged it. It was fairly even, if not. But Hibs more than deserved the second half and therefore to win the game in the end.
Yeah, that's it. I thought Hearts were the better side in the first half, just with more rather than more of an attacking side. It was more from the way that Hearts stopped Hibs from building up. Hibs found it really difficult to play out from the back, and that kind of fed into the crowd. There was a lot of frustration and they just looked disjointed, like Triantis. I mean, we've heard it from mates or the Hibs fans how good he's been, but he was all over the place, and that was down to Hearts and quite a brave approach where it didn't really seem like a diamond. It just seemed like a 4-3-3 with Cabango and Wilson playing a wee bit wider and Shankland through the middle. It worked really well, but never really the team created loads of openings, like chances and opportunities came about.
It's windy, sorry.
Came about with not so much like a lack of design, but it wasn't as if Hearts were breaking Hibs open, but there were opportunities there. Didn't really build on the fact that Hearts got back into the game very quickly after Boyle scored opener and George Grant equalised with a stunning strike. That there were wee moments, but nothing to really nothing you thought, oh, that's a great chance, or anything like that. But Hearts were the more threatening side. I think Hibs only threatened once afterwards, where Nicky Cadden flashed a shot across the face of goal, and then at that point you're going in at half time thinking Hearts were up, and then the second half was 45 minutes of absolutely nothing. I mean, three shots, none on target that's bad enough, that's pathetic, but to only have one effort in the 93rd minute after going 2-1 behind at Easter Road in the derby, having lost the previous derby, unacceptable, I would say.
Yeah, was it a similar end to the last derby as well? Did they not struggle to create a meaningful chance in the last derby as well?
Was rubbish.
I mean, it was overall. It was a very bad performance, worse than the 90 minutes we've just watched there. But you're right but
it does ring a bell of us writing, myself and yourself writing, that there wasn't much in this.
There wasn't that last chance.
No, there was an urgency and attempt.
Yeah, So yeah, I mean, just to kind of pick up on a couple of things you said there, the 4-3-3 definitely looked like it was a 4-3-3, and it looked like it was designed so that Hibs got a lot of joy at Tynecastle, 1-2s down the sides. Didn't happen in that first half, and you could see the fans getting frustrated when Hibs fans were getting frustrated when they weren't playing that cross-field pass quick enough, or there was times when the ball was on and they weren't taking it. They really sorted that out in the second half. Not only that, they doubled down on target in the right-hand side, and they got quite a bit of joy down there. I mean, they got in behind, they dribbled past Taylor a few times, and there was numerous dangerous crosses came from that side, and Iredale's goal comes from there. And while it's not really Taylor that's to blame for there, the initial pass that goes out to Nicky Cadden, he's in acres of space. Taylor's narrow, Khartoum hasn't come back. I'm not entirely sure which is to blame out of those two. Maybe it's a mixture of the two, but again, it's Hearts getting done by Hibs down the sides, basically.
Yeah, I mean, again, you go back to the first half approach, and the team did really well to stop Cadden getting a lot of the ball. So Taylor, after the initial concession, kind of steadied, and he only really had a couple of moments against Cadden, which he did well up against, and did well with Kieran Bowie at one moment as well. Second half, he just looked so unsure, and it took him. he seemed like a player just took too long to react to certain situations, whether it was getting out to close a man down, whether it was a man running in behind, whether it was to drop off or to step up. There was a couple of times where I think he was thinking he was playing someone offside, but he wasn't in line with the defence, so he had a really tricky second half performance. Surprised he kind of finished, to be honest. I thought there was a couple of moments where they might have looked at Forrester. Certainly Forrester warmed up a couple of times. But yeah, it's well, individually it was difficult for him. I did think Critchley seemed to tweak it in the second half, with at the start of the second half having done well pressing wise in the first half, changed shape slightly. Like Wilson went out to the right, Shanklin dropped off, Cabangu played for the middle, and then Spittle went left, Grant went in behind Benny, beside Benny, and again, it didn't have any sort of impact. Everything that Hearts did in the second half, there was no impact. Couldn't keep the ball, were very panicky.
I would add into that the substitutes as well.
Yeah.
I mean, we've praised the impact that substitutes have had in recent weeks, in some games in recent weeks, and it kind of fits in with not getting a chance or a shot at goal towards the end of this game, but didn't really see much contribution. In fact, Musa's greatest contribution was to send a Hibs player through on goal.
I mean, the addition of Musa and Vargas as a double sub was just kind of just desperate stuff.
It was chucking more forward.
Yeah, because he had to take Benny off. It meant having to take Benny off, who was I'd say Benny and Wilson probably the only ones with pass marks. Benny was tremendous in the first half. Wilson, I thought, was really lively.
Even then, he was a little bit wasteful. A couple of opportunities where he either was too slow to make his decision or he didn't make the right decision. But the thing I like about Wilson is you can see that he knows that. He shows his disappointment when he knows he's had a good opportunity and he's let it slip. He puts his head in his hands. I think I don't know, what is it I'm trying to say? This video's all over the place. The framing, it's waving about in the wind. I'm not even sure what I'm trying to say. But yeah, I suppose I like that he seems like a player that's very aware of his strengths and his abilities and where he has to improve.
Yeah, he does. I think he's really intelligent, really receptive player. Very impressive for someone who doesn't turn 18 till later this week. And yeah, he played a couple of different positions. He won the ball in the air a couple of times. He was really quick and alert to it. So yeah, well, it didn't happen for him. He did still look dangerous, which the same can't be said for a lot of other players who were wearing maroon today.
Just finish off by talking about the derby record, Neil Critchley. I mean, he's quite right to say that it's not an issue yet. I would agree with that, but not winning any of the first three, losing at Tynecastle for the first time in 5 years, and then a defeat today. I think a draw would have been okay. That wouldn't have been really part of the conversation, what we're talking about now. But I feel like if there even is another derby this season, there's going to be a lot of pressure on them to win that.
I was going to say the term must win, and it's like it's a wee bit daft to think that.
It is very daft. But this is what happens at Hearts. Hearts fans put so much stock into derbies that this happens.
So I think that
I can see that. I don't know. I could make an argument against it, but I understand. I think sometimes it's overdone to the detriment of other things. I think.
So it's the most important fixture. And yeah,
Definitely.
I disagree with people who've maybe replied on social media or with a view about it being like that should Hearts should get rid of him or anything like that. I do think that's outlandish, but it's an unwanted derby record, and it does put a lot of pressure on the next one. What the big thing I think is more than like the 3 games without a win in these the derbies is the manner of this defeat and the manner of the defeat on Boxing Day. It was, and it's hard to measure this, but other than with your eyes and the end result, Hibs wanted it more in the 2 derbies, and that's a damning thing for. That's the damning thing for a Hearts team, because it's usually Hearts. See, if the 2 teams are equal, it's usually Hearts who are the teams who want it more. They're more battle, more fight, more desire. That wasn't there. That wasn't there at Tynecastle. That wasn't there today. It was I don't want to go over the top with some of the words I would use to describe it with trying to be professional. But if I was to take my professional hat off and just be a fan, I would be seeing it as I would be deeming aspects of it as pathetic, aspects of it as unacceptable, because Hearts fans put so much stock at the derby, and this is, I know they happen often, but they are really important fixtures because they can define a season, they can define a moment. This was a great opportunity for the team to springboard and really put pressure on third, especially Dun United at the time of speaking, winning. It would have been so tight up at the top of the top league, but also it would have taken loads of that kind of pressure around the derby off Critchley. Right, he's got a statement win, and now Hearts fans who have doubts over Critchley will look at the manner of the performance, the lack of big win, and those questions will continue to linger until he comes up with a big win. And it's that
Hampden, I guess.
yeah.
Which could very well happen as well.
And it's finding that balance between the progress the team has made under Critchley, which is undoubted, gone from bottom of the table to, well, just outside the top 6 now, but with a really good, like it was until today, the third best record in the league, and now, but that's good until a point, and then that point is where if you're getting beat by Hibs, then questions are asked.
That's it. We are on to the Scottish Cup next. A wee free week from the league. Scottish Cup quarter final next Friday night at Tynecastle against Dundee.
Massive.
It is massive. That becomes a much bigger fixture now, I guess, after that defeat today. But until then, check everything out at heartstandard.co.uk for reaction to this game. Lots of other stuff will be going up during the week.
I'm not sure about lots of other stuff. We're just like, this might just be a week where just like people don't want to hear about, Hearts fans don't want to hear about Hearts after the derby loss, but we'll see.
Delighted to just find out that I've got much less work to do next week. Please remember to get your CV into S1 Jobs, and we'll speak to you all soon.